In the beginning, God created the heavens and the earth. On earth, he created man in his own image and likeness and gave him dominion to subdue it. And on the seventh day, it is finished.
Okay, this is the second edition of the New Covenant training. And my name is Tony Stitt, for those, if this is your first time watching. And what I'm going to do today is talk about another concept of the New Covenant. But in order to do that, I need to talk about some of the Old Covenant type things. And where I want to start today is talking about the Law of Moses. I think I mentioned last week that the Law of Moses was given to the children of Israel at their request. Why do I say that? Example: when God took Israel out of Egypt, and he told Moses, "Hey, I want you to bring them to the mountain, so I can talk to them personally." If you go ahead and read the Exodus, and you'll read the story. So I'm doing it in the compressed version here. So with that, he got them out. Then he went to the mountain, and he went up. Then of course, God talked to Moses, and the people respected him because God, was showing that he talked to Moses, and Moses was the guy. And the people said, "Oh, no, Lord. Moses, listen, you talk to God, and you tell us what he says to do, and we'll do it." And this was not God's plan, because God wanted to talk to him or talk to them himself. That's always been God's plan, to talk to people directly, but they did not want that. Thus, the law as it came out. Because you can sense a little, I don't want to say attitude, but just, God said, "Okay, Moses, you come up to me, and people, you go back home." And then, of course, he got the law, and that was, obviously, they couldn't do that. Of course, as a matter of fact, the first person that violated the law as they were out of Egypt, this guy was picking up sticks on the Sabbath, and the guy got whacked for it, which that was a pretty drastic punishment for doing that. But to show them the covenant they agreed to is what they wanted, and thus the punishment for not doing it, the guy got whacked for it. So, and you look through all the Old Covenant, all the other books of the Law and the Prophets, and it seemed that God was ticked. Just was whacking people, killing people, and killing babies, killing animals, and doing all kind of stuff. But fast forward, Jesus comes on the scene, and he is said to be the manifestation of God's nature. Jesus didn't kill anybody. Jesus didn't actually do anything to anybody. And he said to love your neighbors, and to do good to those who just use you, and those kind of things. And you get smite on one side of the cheek, offer the other. You compelled to go 1 mile, go 2. So I'm going to just put this out to you. That God of the Old Testament and Jesus Christ, do they seem to be the same God? I think not. But what is the truth of the situation? Who is this God that Jesus was saying that everything the Father does, he does, and in Jesus' life, he never did anything against anybody? So that needs to be reconciled in your mind, because going to last week's session, God's not mad at us, but why wouldn't he be mad at us if he's the same God of the Old Covenant? I mean, when I mess up, obviously he's got to be ticked with me and gonna plow me. So, but when Jesus again came on the scene, he eventually died for the sins of the world. So that does not sound like the same God that ever. And how I'm going to display, be it exactly the truth, you can decide. But I go back to the garden. God created man on the sixth day, but prior to that, God made the heavens and the earth, the planets, the animals, the fish, the fowls, all this other stuff. And he created man. So, okay, man, I want you to manage this stuff. I give you the authority over this and to subdue it and have dominion over it. Great. Man did his thing. He took care of God's business. Great. Of course, man was made in his image and his likeness. He gave man a will, and he gave him the right to choose. And in that, God said, okay, you can eat of every fruit of the garden, but you can't eat of this tree of the knowledge of good and evil. When the day you do that, you will surely die. Now, think about that. He said, the day you do that, you will surely die. Of course, fast forward, he took woman out of man because he made that woman from the man because there was nothing else suitable that God created that was appropriate for his man. So he took a part of man himself and formed a woman. Great. So, but in that situation, the devil started talking to the woman, and we all know the story. And the woman took of the fruit, and he gave to her husband, who was with her, and he ate. Now, there's a lot embedded in this story. So when he ate, their eyes were open. So remember what God said, the day if you eat of this fruit, you will surely die. So equate the consequences of what Adam did, the actions after he ate of that fruit. He ate that fruit and his eyes were open. Then he realized he was naked. Now, that's the first thing. He realized he was naked. Revelation here, folks. He was always naked. God created him naked. But being naked wasn't an issue. Obviously not to God, because God made him that way. But obviously to Adam, with his eyes being open as they were, that was an issue. So when God came walking as I would assume that he always did, and Adam heard him, Adam took off because he was afraid. Okay, his eyes were open and he saw his condition not acceptable to God. So of course he ran away because he felt this God, he was going to have a problem with it. Showing you how his thinking was out of whack. And in doing that, he went and hid behind the trees in the garden, and he put fig leaves around himself to hide himself. And of course, with the story, God says, "Hey, Adam, where are you?" It's not that God didn't know where Adam was. Of course, God knew where he was, but he was talking to Adam where he was and say, "Adam, where are you?" Then Adam responded to him and said, "I was afraid because I was naked." And God said, "Well, who told you were naked?" So obviously he was always naked, for one, but he did something here which was a huge issue. He said, "The woman you gave me, she gave to me and I ate." What did God ask him? He said, "What did you, Adam, what'd you do?" He said, "The woman did you do what I told you not to do?" And he said, "The woman you gave me, gave me the fruit." What was this guy doing? He's blaming God for his problem. And also saying the woman was a vehicle that God sent, obviously, to wreck his world. But the woman was made to be appropriate for him. And think about it. She was made from him. So he was really complaining about himself in a way, but he's blaming God for his situation. If when God said, "Hey, Adam, did you eat of the fruit I told you not to?" He should have said yes. But no, he didn't do that. He said, "The woman that you gave me this, then I ate." So I said some things last week about Jesus taking the wrath It wasn't God's wrath that Jesus took. It was the wrath that we had, because we had a problem with him. Adam had a problem with God. It wasn't God having a problem with Adam. Because did God do something that will cause Adam to run away from him? No. Because God actually sought Adam to say, hey man, let's hang out together. This is Tony paraphrasing. Let's hang out together. But he was gone. He hid himself. God sought him. Adam didn't see God. Adam ran away from God because he felt he was not acceptable anymore because he was naked. So in that situation, he blamed God for what this woman did, which was a part of himself. It's like a vicious cycle here. So man's thinking was messed up. To go back to the death of Adam. What was the death of Adam? His death was a perception of himself that was not like God saw. Again, I'm out of time. Post your comments, and I look forward to hearing from you. Tony Stitt again, and have a great week. Till next time. Bye-bye.